Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Down the Charts by Mining Store. This week we had a very exciting week of trading. We managed to get out of our Doge trade, which we've been holding for about a month now. It had a massive pump. We're going to run through that. It was on the back of a TikTok video, would you believe it? So that was pretty exciting to get out of. I actually got out a little bit early, but I'm going to run through why and give you guys a breakdown of the signals that we put out through the Mining Store community. So on that note, I just want to run through the Mining Store community. For those of you who are not quite yet in our Discord channel, I strongly recommend that you get involved. I'm actually going to put a 7-day free trial at the bottom of this video. And I definitely recommend you get in there. This is where you're going to be kept up to date with when coins are pumping. Things happen pretty quickly in the cryptocurrency market. You definitely have time, even if you're at work, to put your sell in or have your sell orders already in. But for example, I probably would have missed out on selling my Dogecoin if I didn't have access to the Mining Store community in the morning. One of our members posted, and I'm going to run you through that now. So obviously, Goulding here is mentioning that, you know, apparently the TikTok was pumping. Doge was pumping due to a TikTok guy who had posted on there, and it got a lot of attention. So based on that note, you know, I didn't feel like that was overly something massively fundamental about the project, and I didn't think that, you know, the buys were going to last. There's probably a bunch of, you know, what we call rookie investors jumping in on the bandwagon, and I just didn't think that volume was going to continue going up. So I actually said straight away, yep, I'm going to sell my Doge. I posted it into the community that I'd sold it on this massive candle wick here. If we refer back to, let's have a look at Doge first, and we were talking about now. If we refer back to the Doge channel, you can see that I kind of was buying in at this buy signal down here and selling at the top for about a 38% gain. I recognized this pattern, and the community was following this. We probably did this about 3 or 4 times, and then unfortunately on this buy down here, we were holding it for about a month, and then bang, this pump happened. Now this pump overall was around about 123%. I managed to sell out for about 46% gain. Again, you don't go broke taking profits. It was good to at least get on the back of this win. Unfortunately, I sold a little bit too early. Some people managed to hold on a little bit longer, but I just didn't think it had the fundamentals there. As you can see more on a live chart, it obviously looks like a massive pump, and I was more than willing to take those profits. So I told everyone that I'd sold. Some people got on the back of that and sold as well. The analysis didn't end there, though. I kept everyone up to date with what was going on. Some people were staying in. You know, obviously Declan was holding on here, was breaking through the 40 sats. So it was Cephro. And then you can see people mentioning TikTok again. And as you can see, everyone's kind of communicating on what they're doing here. So this was just a live action, give you guys a bit more intel as to how we do our trading. And then again, I kind of did a follow-up summary that, you know, I underestimated the power of TikTok. Nevertheless, I was happy with the pump and that I had sold out. And then we're making a couple jokes about this as we're going on. But yeah, you can kind of get that traction of how the community operates together to make sure that we make the right decisions, rather than sitting there on your own and not really being aware of, you know, should I sell, should I buy in, what's going on in the market. We've all got each other's backs, and a lot of people were trading Link as well, and it looks like Link's had a massive pump. So I don't trade all the coins that everyone's trading in the community. The coins that I trade are the ones that I've got open. I do actually want to enter back into Link. To be honest, I think once it comes off off this pump, I will look to enter back in. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a bit more of a rundown of how things work on the back end, as opposed to the videos that I'm just posting. There's various channels. There's some for Bitcoin trading. These are the chart updates that obviously I'm posting on YouTube and letting everyone know about. You know, there's channels about crypto cards, general chat, B2C mining, FPGA mining, a whole range of things. Pretty much anything that you want in the cryptocurrency market is in here, with over 200 active members and 500 members, some of which are online and don't participate, but most of them are absolutely in there every day and sharing their ideas. Okay, so great place to come in. It doesn't matter if you're a newbie or you're an expert. You'll provide value to the community, or you'll take value. We've had great reviews. Everyone's it's quite a happy place. pace, a lot of camaraderie in here. So yeah, definitely get on board. I'm putting out a 7-day free trial, so there's no worries there. You can jump in, start trading for the 7 days, see how you like it. I'm more than sure that you'll get something out of it. But let's get stuck into the analysis. So on Bitcoin, I mean, it looks like it's kind of had this massive like run up, and now it's entering in this downward trend a little bit, I guess. But I'm kind of seeing this as a bull flag. So I've got an image here of what bull flags usually look like. They tend to be followed by big run-ups, and then they go down in this kind of flag shape, and then they break out the top of those flags, and then they have a massive run-up again. And that's kind of what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. It's not a perfect bull flag, but we can definitely say that it's kind of pumped up, and now it's in this downward trend, and I'm waiting for it to pop out the top here and potentially break this upward trend line and break the 10K mark and continue going up. Now, something that I like to do is head on to Trading View and just type in Bitcoin and see what other people's ideas about Bitcoin are. And from what I can see, everything is looking quite bullish at the moment. I had a look through this guy's channel. He has like a hash ribbon buy signal that he's been following. You guys can have a read through that. And as you can see, he's kind of waiting for this next leg up out of that same bull flag. A lot of people are finding that Bitcoin is looking to be quite bullish. So that kind of confirms your own analysis and gives you hope that you're on the right track here. So definitely when you're short of ideas or you're not exactly sure what the charts are showing, head over to TradingView and just have a look at some of the ideas. That tends to be what I do. One guy will mention something that'll give me something to look into, and then I can kind of paint my picture a little bit better going forward. Now, you might have noticed that I have highlighted the 200-day moving average in this orange thicker line now, and that's because this is the moving average that I think depicts Bitcoin the best. As you can see, when we broke through the 200-day moving average from the downside here, we definitely got a massive capitulation, as the same as when we broke up through the 200-day moving average, we got a massive run up. So we want to see Bitcoin potentially come down and touch this moving average, then bounce off with a lot of volume. If it breaks through, we might be starting to get a bit bearish, and I might actually start hedging or even selling off some of my positions. I learned from the last capitulation not to sell off all your positions because it was hard to kind of pick when to get back in. So I may sell off some positions if we break this 200 MA, but honestly, I think it's looking more like it's going to bounce off it and then break out the top of this bull flag. That's all I've really got for Bitcoin at the moment. Overall, I think things are looking healthy enough given the state of the market. We went through last week about some risk-on events, such as if the stock market is to crash, then we could see another one of these capitulation events, and that is a very high chance, to be honest. I'm not an expert in the stock market, but I definitely follow the basics of the global economy, and I think you don't have to be a genius for the moment to realize that people are in a lot of trouble. The economy is weak, and it probably hasn't realized the full effect of COVID-19 just yet. A lot of the government stimulus is going to start to drop off this year, so coming into around about September for Australia, and we're also getting into earnings reporting season for the US, and those earnings reportings are going to be for the full quarter of COVID-19. Okay, so just be aware of those, but definitely keep your eye on the markets. And yeah, I think overall Bitcoin's looking fairly healthy. So keep your eye on that. Now, with regards to the Bitcoin production rate, I actually want to go through something a bit more in detail in this video. I've actually made it a little bit simpler with the help of one of our members. Squats and Coin was the first person to send me this chart, and it's a really great chart to keep your eye on. But again, this kind of top of the purple line is the Bitcoin production cost, so how much it costs to produce one Bitcoin in a year. And then the bottom is what they're indicating as the Bitcoin production in just electricity costs. Now, I wanted to just verify a couple of these facts on a spreadsheet, and I'm going to go through that with you today. So let's just remember that they are kind of predicting that Bitcoin production total cost is at about $15,000. Now, from my research, I get a little bit different results, but it is within these parameters. So between here and here, I think is a reasonable cost of Bitcoin. Obviously, it really depends what price you get the hardware at, what hardware you get, what electrical rates you're running your hardware at. And so I just wanted to break it down a little bit in this Excel spreadsheet for you guys. So just to be aware that the place I got this data was from cryptocompare.com. So I'll just open that one up for you guys and show you. So I put in 344 terahashes, and that spat out that I would mine 1 Bitcoin per year. Okay, and then the average power consumption is about 3,300 watts per miner, and so this is where I've kind of compiled the data for this Excel spreadsheet. So on average, the average miner on the market at the moment has about 60 to 70 terahashes, which means we would need 344 terahashes to mine one Bitcoin in a year, as it states here. 344 terahashes will get us one Bitcoin, and so I've kind of used this to figure out that we would need about 5 miners, okay, to mine one Bitcoin in a year. Now, each miner, for the main guys, the guys running big mining farms, are probably getting it even a bit lower than this 2,500. I mean, for the average retailer buying 1 or 2 machines, they're probably paying 3,500. But you've got to assume someone that's buying over 1,000 units is getting a pretty good price. So I think the average price would be about 2,500. Now, lifetime, this might shock some people who are used to FPGA mining, which has a lot longer hardware lifetime. But Bitcoin miners can only mine Bitcoin. So as soon as the next model comes out, the model before it becomes less efficient. And that's why I've put a much shorter lifetime of only about 1.4 years compared to FPGA miners, which have about 4 to 5 years lifetime. FPGA miners can switch coins that they're mining. So if one coin becomes less profitable, when a new coin comes out, we can just establish a bit stream for that and start mining that. Whereas ASIC miners can only mine the one algorithm. So they're set to mine Bitcoin. And as soon as the next Bitcoin miner model comes out, those miners become less powerful. Okay. So again, this might shock some people who are used to FPGA mining that Bitcoin miners are only 1.4 years, I believe. Some people might say they've got 2 years lifetime, but I really think after the first year and a half, you're not going to be getting the returns that you used to, and therefore you're not going to be getting 1 Bitcoin per 5 miners. Okay, so 1.4 years is what I've put in there. That puts the total hash cost to about 8,000 total hardware cost for 1 Bitcoin. If we divide 5 of those by 1.4 to about $8,900 US. Okay. Now, in terms of power, you can see the calculations that I've used here, but without breaking it down too much, the total power cost for running those 5 miners for a year is around about $5,781. If we add both of those together, we're getting $14,000. Now, if we take that back to the chart that we were looking at, let's have a look at the Bitcoin production chart. They're predicting it's about $15,000. Okay, so we're fairly close. However, they're putting the electricity costs at about $9,200. Personally, I have it about $5,700. I honestly think that a lot of these big mining farms are getting electricity for as low as 0.04 cents. But what I am not considering here is labor costs, infrastructure costs, things like that. So that probably should be a little bit higher, and therefore these guys might be more right. But the main thing is that the Bitcoin production cost is somewhere between 9,000 and around 15,000. It's not exactly here or exactly here. It's just somewhere between. So when Bitcoin is lower than the production cost, that's where we consider Bitcoin to be undervalued. But is it undervalued by potentially 5,000 or 6,000 US dollars? Probably not. It's between 1 and 6,000 US dollars that it's undervalued. You may need to go back over that, but I thought I would just try and break it down on an Excel spreadsheet so you guys can understand this a bit better. There's some assumptions that I've made in this calculation. Again, just be aware that if we change this to 2 years, it drastically reduces the cost of production down to around 12, or some people might think that they have 3 years in their hardware, and that it reduces it down to about 9,948. So honestly, I think this is about a fair production around the 1.5. I think this is a fair power cost, although it probably could go a little bit higher due to infrastructure and the rest of it. So somewhere between 10,000 and around 18,000 or 15,000, I think is a fair cost of production. It's obviously not an easy calculation to make, as everyone's circumstances are different, but that just gives you guys an idea of where these figures are actually coming from. Okay. Moving on, we'll summarize Bitcoin there again. So if Bitcoin can kind of rally up to this 14, 15K price, that will really help the miners, and that's what really needs to happen for the miners to stay online. For the moment, looks like we're in that bull flag, and potentially once we get close to the 200 MA line, we may see a bounce off and rally through. Okay, so that kind of ties it all together for you guys. Ethereum is just kind of doing its thing. It's in this upward trend. We're leading into Ethereum 2.0, hopefully towards the end of the year. Only thing that I think can really crash down Ethereum's price is if the team misses their target again to release Ethereum 2.0. I think a lot of people are kind of getting sick of like what's going to happen when Ethereum 2.0 changes. That's the main thing that most people are really focusing on. So yeah, I really think that they need to hit that target this year, release the 2.0. If that happens, I do think we could get quite a nice rally. It would bring a lot of attention to the Ethereum project. A lot of people would be willing to buy Ethereum, lock it up into stakes, particularly in this low interest rate market, and earn a bit of a higher interest rate, maybe closer to the 3 to 5% on a fairly stable project. I would almost say, at least it's a proven project. They'd be willing to take the risk and earn 5% plus potentially have some higher capital gain. All right, so yeah, Ethereum again just in this upward trend. I think it'll continue doing so. I don't think we're going to get a capitulation down too much on Ethereum compared to Bitcoin's price, but let's see what happens, and hopefully we see 2.0 being released. We're tracking above the moving averages, which means it's quite bullish, and I think we could get some upward price action. LOKI. So LOKI has really crashed out of this upward trend, and it's even kind of crashed to the bottom of this consolidation period that I was drawing. For those of you who are not invested in LOKI, I honestly reckon this is a really good area to pick some LOKI up, particularly if you're interested in hosting some nodes. I can get up for you guys how much the LOKI nodes are actually earning. I'm just opening up a tab. Give me 1 second. So if I bring this one across, it's been changed a little bit. Here we go. So if every month you're earning about 1.8%, which is 24% yield per year. Okay, so looking back on, that's the wrong one, back on the chart here, if you think that LOKI's price can at least stay in this area here and not go too much further down, then that's a pretty good yield to even just hold the coin and lock it up in a stake. Now it requires about 16,987 LOKI, and LOKI's price, LOKI, let's have a look, coin market. So we'll just calculate LOKI's price in US dollar value, and so we'll copy paste this one, so LOKI, that's the LOKI price times about 16,000, let's just do 900, is about 5,000 US dollars for a LOKI stake. Now, if you can get a quarter of that, so divide that by 4, I can actually host a LOKI node for you, which is only about 1,200 US dollar in investment. Now, if you can earn around 26% yield on that per month, times that by 0.26, you're earning an extra 325 US dollars on that quarter stake there. So definitely well worth having a look into the LOKI project. If you've got a lot of faith in it and you think it can at least hold its price value around here or continue going, you can earn an extra 26% yield on that project. Not to mention if it does kind of escalate in price, then the yields that you've earned have gone up in value as well as the initial investment, okay? I really love LOKI. I've done really, really well. I follow a compound investing strategy with LOKI, so all of the yields that I earn, early days I was earning about 26% yield per month, which was crazy. I was just reinvesting into another node. I did eventually sell quite a bit off, but overall I've kept at least 1 or 2 nodes myself, and hosting them for the community as well. We're hosting over 40 LOKI nodes. So yeah, really, really cool investment, I think, really easily compoundable, great yield, great potential upside. We're quite close to the project leads and developers. We've got a channel in here for discussing LOKI, LOKI project. So Jagerman here is one of the LOKI devs, and he can answer any of your questions. So yeah, really great community to be a part of. Really great coin to be invested in. Can earn some great yields and potential upside there. As I say, we're entering into this kind of buy zone area. So if you are looking to get a LOKI node, definitely look at picking some up around this area. Let's go on to Dogecoin. So we've already covered this one, that massive pump from TikTok. This is where I sold Doge. So, obviously was doing a bit of a face palm there. Wasn't overly happy that I sold too early. But then again, remember, I was following this strategy, and, this is what trading is about. It's about discipline and sticking to your strategy. I always said if it got up to this point here, where it had been hitting and falling back down, that I would sell. I held for, outside of my strategy, I did actually hold all the way up to 42%, which was around about an extra 20% on what I probably should have. But yeah, I just kind of thought on the back of this TikTok pump, I didn't think it was going to last. It did kind of come all the way back down to around about where I sold anyway. And as I say, you can't go broke taking profits, and you also can never pick the very top or the bottom of the market. Okay. So overall, really happy with that one. If Doge comes back down, I may look to buy back in. I think it's a great coin just to trade the charts on. I don't even really follow the project that well, although I know it's got a big community. But yeah, well worth kind of, just trading the TA or technical analysis, the charts. As you can see, it's got plenty of upside from the 2017 high, and we're kind of at that really low territory still. So yeah, see if you want to get into trading some Doge. I think it's a great coin for those pumps, and yeah, you can make a quick 30-40% quite easily on it. I'm going to wait for it to come back down, see what happens. I'll report if I do enter back in on Doge, but overall, this is a perfect example of how that strategy played out. Again, entered out a little bit early, but overall I'm happy with that trade. RSR. So RSR's just continued to go up. I had some negative news come through from one of the channels that I'm involved in, and I actually exited. I haven't entered back into RSR, so I exited about here on this pump. I still think that there's a good chance RSR could come back down, and I want what's the best for the project. I don't want it to be smashed down or anything like that. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to wait until, we hit below these moving averages. Everything's looking just a little bit too top heavy for me. Having said that, it could just continue rallying up. But since it's average, it's lower price, it's gone up about 300 or 400%. I do think it's due to come back a bit, or at least consolidate. We'll see what happens. I'll report if I enter back in on this one. I'll try and keep people up to date with the fundamentals as well. I can't quite report on what I'd heard from this project just yet. It also may not be true, but yeah, I'm staying clear just for the moment. I'll let everyone know if I do get back into it. Let's have a look here. So Handshake, obviously, it's come down quite a lot. One of those coins that we've been mining, starting to get a bit of uptick here, which is positive. I'm not going to comment too much for the rest of this video on Handshake. Again, it's just one of those weights like Doge was. As soon as it pumps up, I'll let everyone know in the Discord community when I think I might be taking some positions and selling off some positions. There's a lot of ASIC miners being introduced to this market now, so they are probably looking to get a bit of a return on investment, and they're going to be selling off some coins. But as that network hash rate increases, they're going to be a little bit more tight with their pockets and probably holding, and that's when I think we're going to see some uptick. So let's just wait and see what happens here. I think it's overall a really good project. It's going to take some time for them to reach full fruition, but let's just see what happens. I think, yeah, let's hold on and see if it can kind of break above this moving average line here. Moving on to TRB. Now, TRB is leading into version 2 algo release, or V2 algo release soon. The current staking requirement is 1,000 TRB per node to mine this coin, and that's going to increase to 6,000. So anyone that's wanting to still continue mining TRB, they're going to have to buy an extra, say, 5,000 coins or whatever on excess of what they've currently mined. And I do think we're going to see a lot of buying happen for those people who are looking to lock in those nodes. Now, I think a lot of people will also drop off the market who don't currently have enough or have that 6,000 TRB. So that could lead to some selling pressure, but also it will increase the current miners' return on investment. If other miners drop off on the market, then people who are willing to stake that 6,000 TRB are going to get a higher reward, and they're probably not going to need to sell off as many coins for that. So yeah, overall, I really think that we could see a further increase in price. We went through last week on the tokenomics of TRB and how it's on a decreasing emission curve. Again, I think that this could really lead to an increase in price. Overall, I've been following this kind of channel for a long time now and buying in at the bottom and selling my mine coins close to the top. Yeah, I think we're just going to keep continuing following this trend up until the emission curve flattens out, and then we might see some more consolidation. But yeah, leading into V2 and also with plenty left on the emission curve to decrease, I think this could continue going up for sure, TRB. Fully non-biased, I think there is a couple of issues going on with the TRB project at the moment. People are not too happy with the gas fees from the mining perspective, so I think that needs to be solved. I'm actually going to try and get in touch with the Mandalore, who's one of the devs. I had a consultation with him last week to further understand the TRB project and report back as much as I can to the community. So I'll touch base with him, see if we can fix some things up there. But overall, I think this is a really great project, and I do think that there's going to be further price action ahead. Okay, so going on to Digibyte, another one of the coins that the mining store community is mining on our FPGA miners, looking really healthy, to be honest. I think that we can actually break into this above the 23% line and start heading towards the 38% fib line. So we've had this consolidation period. Again, a little bit of a bull flag forming here with this downward trend after a big pump. But overall, I think it's looking like we're just about to break out. Hopefully, this coin gets released on Coinbase. That'd be Coinbase and Binance who would be trading on now, which brings a whole heap of new people who are are willing to trade it. Yeah, overall, I think that this is looking great. Yeah, things have been really good ever since the old leader left Digibyte, Jared. So yeah, let's hope that we can next week see a bit more of a higher price increase, or at least continue this slight uptrend here. CKB had a really nice rally, and this is great news for a lot of the mining store miners. A lot of us invested quite a bit of money into our CKB miners, and unfortunately COVID-19 came around just as we bought them, and we never really got the full return that we were looking for. But just here we can see I've just highlighted this kind of support resistance line that like around COVID-19 that we broke through, and now we're just starting to get back up above it. So we're above all the moving average lines. Hopefully we can see a further breakthrough. I think there was a little bit of news about China potentially using Ethereum and the CKB network, which is obviously been seen as positive. Yeah, overall I quite like CKB. I haven't followed it to the degree I probably should be. I'll try to get some more details on the project and see where things are going. But from a technical analysis point of view, breaking above this support resistance line is great news. I think now that we've reached the top of the RSI, we might see some consolidation, and then hopefully we'll see another run up. But overall, great news for our community, because we're mining this coin and we didn't want to see it kind of just continue going into despair. Some people might want to take some profits here. That's a decent daily return on investment that you've got. I mean, all of your daily returns have gone up by about 60% from what it was in June. So yeah, definitely might be worth taking at least a bit of profits. Have a look at what that means for you on a daily return per miner. But yeah, I think we've waited quite a while for this. The safe side might be to take some returns. Those of you who want to be a bit more risky and hold on, feel free to do so. Or maybe you want to put some stop losses in, a little bit below here, maybe down here. So you can ensure that you do secure profits if CKB decides to kind of go back in a downward trend. It has had these spikes up before and then kind of gone into despair again. So yeah, you might want to play a little bit more safe. Xenon, I will report on Xenon probably a little bit later. There's some really cool things going on. I'm taking a couple of profits from my node that I set up at the moment. I think we actually caught some of these highs up here. Obviously holding into my pillar because I can't sell out of that, and I wouldn't ever want to anyway. But yeah, overall Xenon's looking quite healthy, and I'll report back later on some more fundamental news announcements that are coming up soon. But yeah, again guys, just to summarize before we finish up this video, definitely well worth jumping into the Mining Store Discord. This is where you're going to be kept up to date on a regular basis. If you, for example, buy into Doge and then Doge starts pumping, people are going to be going off like crazy in here saying Doge is pumping, and you won't miss a beat. You can have notifications come up on your phone. You can ask questions in here about what exchanges to use. There's guides in here. This is a really information rich place and a really safe place to learn how to trade cryptocurrency or get into mining. Overall, if you're looking to further advance your knowledge in the cryptocurrency or blockchain or mining, or even trading or whatever it is, just general investing, the property market, this is a really great place to be. We look forward to seeing the new members come about. I'll put the link in the description of this video, and yeah, happy trading. Good stuff, guys.